by one leg.
He says they took life insurance out on the band right before they went out. And he says, you guys better put on a good tour or else. So they did.
They fucking did, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure you got stories about
Well, that's
that.
where Sharon learned all her craft from.
But he did do a lot with a lot of bands. I guess he introduced...
Yeah, they're all the ones that said, we were robbed afterwards.
Did you ever know Peter Grant, who lives up on the
Yeah.
manager? He was a rough and tough guy.
Fuck yeah.
But he got the job done.
I mean, Zeppelin were assholes, actually, you know, in the early days. People thought they were gangsters, you know. They used to walk around with these fedoras on and shit, you know, being like tough guys. And they beat a guy to death at the San Francisco Fillmore. Stagehand, he told Peter Grant's kid to fuck off because the kid was fucking with the ropes and shit. And he said, fuck off, kid. And John Bender and, what's his name?
That was on a report on a Led Zeppelin show. They almost beat the security guy to death. They took him back and bloodied him.
They did beat him to death.
They did beat him to death.
Yeah,
Wow.
he died. Stagehand.
That's because they messed with the kid.
Yeah, because he told the kid to fuck off because he was messing with the ropes that were holding things up, like you would, right?
Yeah.
Fuck off, kid, you know, that's all he did.
Recently there was like stories about that where they did stuff like where they there was a thrash show where one of the guys of a new band, I can't remember what it was, like Pennywise or one of those skateboard bands, was jumping into the crowd, and sometimes the security forgets they come from the crowd as a singer, and the guy tried to come back on stage being the lead singer, and the guy tackled him and tried to throw him back in the crowd, and this guy knocked out the security.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And there was no charges pressed because he was throwing the lead singer back out in the audience. He didn't know. He said he looked like every other fan. He thought he was just running back up to jump and attack the band.
Well, he should have noticed who was on stage behind him, actually.
Exactly. He should have watched him jump out and kept an eye on him. That's his job.
That's his gig, yeah.
I worked security for, in fact, I worked security and took photos of your shows when you opened at the Paramount Theater way back. That was a great
Way
show.
back. That
Yeah,
was
you had
the
the
Aussie
big,
tour, wasn't
you had the big bomber hanging on stage. The big
No, it was Crocus and
Crocus,
Motor-
that's right,
Me-
on top of the bill on that
No,
one.
but I think
Crocus
yours-
and Fist,
and it was
Yeah.
like the first week you had,
Brian Robertson.
yeah.
Yeah, but you opened for Ozzy one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had the bomber on stage, didn't you, when you first opened, or was that the
That was
headline?
Ozzy. That was
yeah,
the one where we
the
topped
headline.
the bill,
Yeah, I
So-
remember that.
That's like in San Francisco at the Waldorf. With,
The old Waldorf,
yeah. That was a,
That was a good show, yeah. I
Yeah.
got that on tape somewhere. That's a bootleg now.
Yeah. So hey, if you could do a studio project with any musicians, anybody at all, you know, just say you wanted to do a good best of super session type thing, who would you pick and why? You know?
Jeff Beck, because he's Jeff Beck.
Yeah. He's been the most underrated musician in a long time, I
Sure
think.
has.
It's
He
sad.
played a lot of shit too, you know, it's his own fault. All that jazz stuff is all very well if you call us Santana, you know, but I think these people vanish up their own asshole, you know. I mean, what he was good at was like shapes of things, you know, it was his best moment for me. And Mr. You're a Better Man Than I, you know, I mean, he was a wonderful rock guitar player. And then he goes twiddling off into that jazz thing, same as Santana, you know,
Yeah.
who was a magic blues guitar player. And they just wasted themselves, as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure the jazz community got more out of them than me, you know, but there you go.
Do you like the new stuff, like Satriani and Vibe? Well, it's
No,
not
I've got no
too new,
time
but-
for all this twiddly stuff, you know, fucking guitar players showing off. I like songs, you know,
Yeah.
not showcases for the guitarist, you know. I don't care how much spandex they wear, you know.
Yeah.
I like I like the Beatles, you know, they were my big pet
Yeah.
influence, and they wrote fucking songs. I mean, whoever was top of the heap at the moment they wrote that song, at least it was still a song that they all joined in, you know.
Yeah.
They weren't just like waiting for the solo, you know, it's just bullshit for
So
them.
were you like me? Don't you wish the bullet kind of went 2 more inches to the right when they shot John?
Yeah, right, there you go. What was I going to say? Yeah, Jeff Beck.